Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Ivana Bartoletti, Global Chief Privacy Officer of Wipro, Director of Women Leading in AI Network, and Visiting Executive Privacy and Cybersecurity Fellow of Virginia Tech, USA. Over to you.
Thank you so much, and thank you, Maranti, for inviting me. It's a real pleasure to be here. And what a fantastic speech we just heard. We don't work alone. Shalom humanity. We do need it right now, don't we? And force for good. And this is what I want to talk to you about. I have some slides, but I will follow them. But I prefer to talk like this. So I want to talk to you about artificial intelligence. And I'm sure that you know that artificial intelligence have been hitting the headlines so much over the last few months. And certainly artificial intelligence is not a new thing, but you all probably use generative AI and ChatGPT and all these tools. And ChatGPT is used by 100 million people all across the world. So something really deep changed with the arrival of ChatGPT, which is the fact that ChatGPT came into our homes, came into our houses. Everybody uses it. Students, workers. And if you think about the potential that artificial intelligence has on our daily life, it's huge, tremendous. And I love the ambition of making Malaysia a country not just of users, but producers of these technologies, which is what you have to do. So what is artificial intelligence doing these days? If you think about how much we can use generative AI and other technologies in our workplaces so that we can work faster, better, so we can stop wasting a lot of time or tasks that can be so repetitive. We can free up energy, creativity, tasks that can be a little bit repetitive for people, summaries, taking minutes, drafting documents and press releases, a lot of this. It's really important, can be automated. And that doesn't mean to fire people. And I know there are worries in Malaysia as well around job displacement. But the approach that we should have in our companies and business is to augment people, not replacing them. This is where AI is a force for good. And then think about artificial intelligence is one of the areas that is closer to us, which is health. The idea that we can identify something way before that it manifests. That you can train an algorithm to identify if you have a change in one of your organs. So they can identify way before whether we are talking about cancer and treat it faster and live longer. Or think about education. Or think about wellness and mental well-being. I come from Europe, and we are plagued with the issue of solitude and loneliness. It's sadly a very different culture. I'm originally Italian, so closer to yours. But where I lived from, and where I lived for many years in the US and then in the UK, we are plagued with loneliness. And we are finding that with all the caveats and the risk, I will talk about it, but we're finding really the importance of artificial intelligence in supporting us navigating through that loneliness. So there is a lot of good, and we should be very excited about AI. Embrace it, and work with it right now. And I always say, in my company, I always say the problem for me is not that AI is going to displace jobs, but it's going to displace the jobs of those who are not using AI right now. They're not familiarizing with it as we speak. But over the last few months, alongside all the wonderful things happening, all the fantastic things that AI is bringing, productivity, better health, better predictions, we've also seen a darker side of technology. And this is where I want to talk to you about governance and the role that I would like companies in Malaysia, but Malaysia as a government, to play to support the development of responsible and ethical AI at global level. I always say that when we talk about artificial intelligence, sometimes, yes, I mean, it is basically statistics on steroids, isn't it? But every algorithm is made of data. It's made of parameters, and it's made of people. And nothing of people, parameters, and data is neutral. Because data is just a picture of society as it is now. And when you take this data, you input into the algorithms, you are coding the existing world into systems that make decisions about tomorrow and predictions about tomorrow. This is why one of the things that we have seen about artificial intelligence and the use of algorithms in automated decision-making over the last few months around the world has been one of the greatest risks that we're seeing in AI, which is the risk of coding the existing world of today into systems making decisions about tomorrow. You may have heard of it, it's called bias. So we have found algorithms that give more credit to men than to women because traditionally men earn more than women. Or we have found algorithms that they need to recognize skin cancer to be trained on white skin so they cannot recognize skin cancer on black skin or darker skin. This is where your force for good. If we are to develop AI, if we are to use AI, grow with it, as a nation, as a world, it has to be fair AI. Not AI that code the world of today into decisions and policies about tomorrow. I'll give you an example. I'm very passionate about getting more women into technology. So can you imagine when I asked ChatGPT a few months ago, I asked ChatGPT, I said, hey, can you tell me a story of a boy and a girl who are together in high school and they need to decide what they're going to study in university? I said, tell me a story. And ChatGPT told me the story and said, once upon a time, there were a boy and a girl and they wanted to go to university. And the boy said, I'm going to study engineering. And the girl said, I'm going to study art because I do not understand numbers. So what happened with these generative AI is that, of course, they're not neutral. They represent the world as it is. It's not their fault. They're machines. So fair and ethical and responsible AI really means this. It means AI that make us better as a society. That makes us more productive, but it makes us more fair, more equal. And that means that before an algorithm, an AI machine is used in public sector, in private sector, we have to ensure that it doesn't carry that bias. This is where regulation comes in, governance comes in. You will have heard, maybe, that over recent times there's been a lot of talk about governance of AI. It's been the talk of the day. Every single day talk about governance of AI. People like Elon Musk, they've written letters saying AI is going to destroy us all and this is why we need to stop the development. I don't like this catastrophic tone because I work in it and I know the amazing potential of these technologies. But what I do know is that to become a force for good, we do need responsible AI. And how do we do responsible AI? How does Malaysia do responsible AI? How do your companies do responsible AI? First of all, responsible AI comes at many different levels. Regulation, obviously, and I know there is discussions in your government and your parliaments about regulation. And regulation is important because what it says is, well, hey, before a product hits the market, this is what it needs to have. It has to be, it can't be breach privacy. You have to be transparent about the data that goes into these systems. It has to be safe and robust so that it does not cause harm to our citizens and customers. The robustness of artificial intelligence is very important. But the issue is, so the regulation is one element of it. The second element of it is what companies do. How do companies introduce responsible artificial intelligence and ethical AI? So that means that companies, they have to introduce, and a lot of them are introducing, what is called ethical boards. A lot of companies are introducing governance structures. I myself head up a task force that we've set up within Wipro to look at responsible artificial intelligence and how to embed controls around artificial intelligence into the existing governance construct. And every company should do this right now. Because if you're growing as nations, whether it's in Malaysia or everywhere, it means that we're going to trade and produce companies and goods and services and AI products to be sold at global level. And one thing is for sure, and that is that there will be, and there is an increasingly number of countries that have responsible ethical AI in the legislation. The European AI Act will be the first one of its kind, which will be approved, hopefully, on the 6th, or around December, in the European Parliament. You will have heard what happened with the President Biden in the US issuing an executive order on robustness of artificial intelligence. China is very strong on algorithmic transparency, accountability, and discrimination. Saudi Arabia, other countries, India, every country right now has a strategy for growth with AI, which you have, and here in Malaysia, legislation like the one you are discussing right now about artificial intelligence and governance. And let me tell you, the companies that will bring together innovation in artificial intelligence with privacy, ethics, and responsibility in the design on what they're creating, they will have a massive competitive advantage moving forward. Things like privacy by design, which basically means how we're going to code privacy into our algorithms. How are we going to use differential privacy? How do we make sure that we're not breaching the most important thing that people have, the more intimate data about themselves? And we are seeing a great alignment on these issues at global level, especially around the importance of AI to be safe and robust, and especially around the importance of artificial intelligence bringing safe and not bring what a lot of people fear, especially around generative AI, which is disinformation. Because as you know, with generative AI, it's so easy to create images that replicate the world as it is, replicate this, they look so real, and they can really cause havoc in the public domain. The last thing that I wanted to mention is around sustainable AI. I love your commitments to sustainability. They are so important, they're so meaningful, and you do walk the talk when you say this, as you said about tomorrow. And I have a provocation for you. Artificial intelligence is often talked about as something that can bring enormous and help us enormously in tackling pollution and in helping us, for example, predicting the amount of resources on heating that we need in a particular area. The predictive capability, the use of big data, they're really helpful in tackling the climate change. But AI also consumes a lot. There is a cost to artificial intelligence. It's a massive one. Massive. Every single chat on ChatGPT is hugely expensive for our environment. There was this talk, correct me if I'm wrong, but that one chat on ChatGPT was like throwing a bottle of plastic water into the sea. So the challenge that I have for you as a country, as businesses, how are we going to reward businesses that innovate in sustainable AI? Before awarding a contract, are we going to actually see what the environmental footprint of that AI product is going to be? Procurement is going to be very important, no? Can we use it for good? Because we always talk about AI for sustainability, but I want to talk about sustainable AI. And I would love to see countries more and more rewarding companies, rewarding research and development, funding research and development for AI that pollutes less. And also tackling things like e-waste. That's a massive issue that we have. I want to leave you on one note. There's a wonderful future that we can all embrace with AI, and you're doing this already. AI is going to change the way that we live and we work, and it's great. Do not fear job displacements. Embrace what AI can bring, but be part of it. Let's not be driven by these technologies. Let us be the ones driving them to make our world better. But to do that, let's also embrace responsible and ethical AI, sound governance. And when people say, well, you know, but legislation and governance will hinder technology and innovation, that is not true. Because giving certainties to companies builds trust in people. And trust is what we need to grow as nations, as countries, and as the world. So positive future, positive outlook, a great role for your country moving forward, but embrace responsible AI and help us drive that agenda, not just here, but all over the world. Thank you.